Folks, welcome back to Tipped Off. The NBA season is over. The New York Knicks have hoisted up the Larry O'Brien trophy, and it was just a phenomenal final series. I'm sorry I'm getting to it just now. As soon as the finals ended in Game 5, I pretty much hightailed it down to Orange Beach on vacation and caught some sun, caught some waves, got smacked around by them a couple times, found some seashells, did some things. I had my off season. I had my off season in a week, but you get the idea. But now that I'm back for a day because I'm going right back to Dallas tomorrow. So we're in here getting an episode in. Tomorrow is draft night where a lot of stuff could potentially go down. We saw just at the time of recording this about 45 minutes ago, Julius Randle was just traded to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for, I didn't see the whole trade. All I know is Nick Claxton is now a Bull. Julius Randle is now a Brooklyn Net. And the Timberwolves got 2 second-round picks, which I assume they're going to move to try and extend their championship window. But let's get right into it. For starters, let's recap the Knicks-Spurs series. I mean, obviously, the Spurs were too young. That's what I was saying all the entire series was they were showing us they were too young, they weren't experienced enough, and the one guy that they were supposed to have, De'Aaron Fox, just hid. He didn't do anything. He tried to be a hero, but ultimately, this might get a little philosophical, but trying to be a hero in the NBA Finals in a situation like De'Aaron Fox's is the equivalent of hiding from your actual duty of being a third option veteran guard. I mean, I know you're 28 years old, but that's the idea. Is you're supposed to be that veteran for them, and I know that's a young veteran, but that's who you got, and that's who you got to roll with. And the fact he didn't step up into that role is just one of the plethora of reasons that the Spurs did not take it, and they lost in 5 to the Knicks. On the other hand, you saw a team of experienced, battle-torn individuals that had a chip on their shoulder, They had been in the league for quite a while now. A lot of players had been counted out personally by the teams that had moved on from them. And this was the biggest screw you to those teams. So I really think that the Knicks came out there, proved what a special team they were. I didn't believe in them, and not many other people did. I mean, I saw this morning Stephen A. Smith apologize on live TV, which hell must have frozen over. No offense, but I mean, that was something to see. And it's just phenomenal experience for the Knicks, and I hope that the city of New York's enjoying it, not hurting too many people. And yeah. But moving on from the recap, what do they need to do going forward? The Spurs and the Knicks. The Knicks, I think you just ride with it. You come off, you got the ring. I think you can run it back another year. If you get second round exit, like teams have been historically having after winning championships, with the exception of this year, I think if you stick to that path and become a second round exit, then you add on in the next offseason. But I mean, hey, this team has proven that they can win a ring. I think you just bring everybody back, maybe add a few bench assets and call it good. Now, the Spurs, on the other hand, they have quite the predicament. You have 2 options, right? They're 2 simple on paper options, but once you get into the nitty-gritty of it, it could take a while. And your first option is, of course, shopping De'Aaron Fox, a $220 million contract, and the way he played, it doesn't look like you're going to get much from it. If I were the Spurs, I'd trade or shop Fox for depth. I wouldn't try and get another option. I wouldn't try and get another big name. I don't think you go that route because you have your big names. They just need a little bit of time to develop. Now, what you can do is you can get a bunch of role players, maybe potential starters, maybe some picks with it that can come in. And these players can come in, add a bit of the load that the rest of the Spurs roster currently has onto them and take the load off of their shoulders, so that way they can focus more on developing, growing, and overall just continuing that winning culture that's been in San Antonio for decades. And the other option, and this is a lot simpler, and I think this is more so the route that the Spurs are going to go, is just start Dylan Harper and have Fox come off the bench. Sunken cost fallacy is real, and you need to get rid of it if you're wanting to go that second step forward. If you're wanting to take that, you gotta abandon the idea of we just paid $220 million for De'Aaron Fox. Ain't no way he's not starting. Like, humble yourself. Let him come off the bench. Dylan Harper did you a huge solid in the NBA Finals, picking up the load that veteran in De'Aaron Fox forgot to do and just abandoned his duty. So I think he proved himself in the finals. Next season, you go in with a fresh start. You start Dylan Harper. De'Aaron Fox comes off the bench, and I think, honestly, you can run it back. The guys are going to be more experienced. They're going to be back. I've seen teams, however, I've seen lots of, not teams, but I've seen lots of sources on media outlets and stuff comparing this team, strangely enough, to the 2012 OKC Thunder, where everyone was like, these guys are going to come back. They'll be back. They're just young. They had a lanky star in Kevin Durant. They had an amazing guard in Russell Westbrook. And it's kind of like they're trying to draw a parallel. I don't think so. I really don't think so. When you have a guy like Victor Wembanyama on your team, I don't think that you're not going to not make the finals again. That doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't seem accurate. And I feel like by now, we as NBA fans and viewers should know that Victor Wembanyama is not just some other star. He's a generational talent, but not like other generational talents. Like, we call every number one pick a generational talent, but like, he's a generational talent. I don't know how to buff that term, but you get the idea. And I think you're going to run it back, make some adjustments. Mitch Johnson, take some advice from Greg Popovich in the offseason, learn to maybe call timeouts during 15-0 runs and just tweaks like that, and I think you're good. I think that Larry O'Brien is in your hands if you do that, if I'm being real. I kind of want to talk on Jalen Brunson now, though. Finals MVP, sealed the game with 45 points in Game 5 against the Spurs in San Antonio. Just a phenomenal performance. Outstanding, really. I mean, he shot the ball well. He showed up when it mattered. And he was kind of iffy in the rest of the series. He would show up early and then disappear late, or disappear early and show up late. But this Game 5, he was there consistently. And I'm not discrediting that at all whenever I say this. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's amazing. He's awesome, you know? A great point guard. Top 5. But let's not jump the gun. Because I've seen people online using this ring culture argument to say that he's better than Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum. Which is really weird because they're using the ring argument for Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum has a ring. It's very flawed, and I don't think that Jalen Brunson is anywhere near... Well, no, he's near them, but he is definitely not above or the same level as Luka or Tatum. I think if you put either of those guys on the Knicks, you get the same outcome. I really do think you get the same exact outcome if you put those two on that team. They both come out Finals MVP. And that's no discrediting Jalen Brunson. Like I said, don't crucify me for this, because I know a lot of people are high on Jalen Brunson right now, as they should be. I mean, the kid proved himself. Phenomenal performance, and closed out the series like a true all-star, like a true cornerstone piece. He did his job, and that's the reason they're hoisting the Larry O'Brien. I'm not discrediting that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's be real here. There's a little bit more to this than just Jalen Brunson got a ring, so all of a sudden he's the best point guard in the league. That's not how that works. Moving on, Dusty May is now a Dallas Maverick after winning a great championship in Michigan, after bringing it home, after taking it all. He looked at the crapshoot that college basketball is becoming and said, let's go a step higher. The Mavericks called him up, and I saw a video. It was really funny. It was, I think it was Ben Like Sports on Instagram or TikTok. I forget which one I saw it on, but it was a skit in which, like, the Mavericks were just like, well, I mean, we need a new coach. Just call up Dusty May. Like, no, like, he just won a championship in Michigan. It's like, I don't care. Call him. Just give it a shot. They call him. I mean, yeah, he's outside the office. And it's like, I kind of think that's kind of how it went down. Because if I am Dusty May, I'm seeing the fact that all my guys that I just won this natty with are leaving me. And I see that all these teams are bringing in G League players, former NBA players, overseas players that are like 25 and technically have eligibility. All these little legal loopholes with college sports. It's going down the drain. I think Dusty May realized that and decided, well, let's go to the NBA. And honestly, I think that's a huge pickup for the Mavericks. I really do. I think this team is actually such a sleeper team for next season. I'm not saying championship contender because objectively they're not. But I do think they could be a decent playoff team. I think they can maybe make like a 6 to 8 seed, maybe be a play-in team at worst. But I mean, I think Cooper Flagg's going to develop great. I think that the team is super deep. They just have to make a few more moves. I think you move Najee Marshall, maybe shop some picks around, get some assets in, and I actually have a solution to the Klay Thompson dilemma later on. But I think you just have to make a few more moves and you can be a playoff team for next year. And it's just really that. I just wanted to briefly touch on that because I'm not the biggest in college sports and college basketball in general. I don't pay attention to much. I wasn't able to cover it too much this year. I tried to, but I had to cover the Sun Belt for a secondary job that I have. So I didn't really touch the major schools, your SECs, your ACCs. I never really had time to pay attention to them other than when it came tournament time. So I really didn't have much to pay attention to. And honestly, if I'm being real, when Dusty May got hired, I was like, if I didn't see the Michigan next to it, I wouldn't have been so like, oh my goodness, because I had no clue who he was. I had to do research prior to this episode, if I'm being really honest. But I think looking at what I see, like with the super fast-paced offensive style that he has, I think he'll work well with the Mavericks. I really do. I think that the Mavericks are going to be able to find their coach right here with Dusty May and maybe make a surprise run in the playoffs next year if we're really wanting to be honest. Now, the main part of this quarter that I want to talk about is the draft. And I'm not, like I said, didn't pay much attention to college hoops, but I did pay attention to the prospects, right? And so here's what I have briefly. I'm just going to cover it real quick. I think AJ DeBonce's best fit is Washington. Even if he'd rather go to Utah, even if everyone's saying Utah makes more sense, people are saying Darren Peterson is going to go first to Washington. I am warning Washington right now. From what I've seen with Darren Peterson, I don't think you're going to get a bust. You're not getting a bust with him. But this might be around the level of 2014 Andrew Wiggins. You're not going to get a bad player. I just don't think you're going to get the one you expect. With the way I've seen his mentality, the way I've seen him play, he's a great player. But his mentality is what's holding him back. Everyone's been talking about this. Let's kick the dead horse some more. But that play where he simply asks out after hitting a three, nudges his coach on the side, says, "Hey, I want out." I think if you're a GM, alarm bells should be ringing. Not to mention the load management. Are we looking at another like Kawhi, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid situation where they're constantly just out on load management or injury reserve or figuring out whatever it is? Like, this is concerning because usually load management doesn't really take place until you've established yourself in the league as a dominant force and something that your team values to the point where they would not want to play you in a random regular season game against the New Orleans Pelicans. However, Darren Peterson does not have that name established for him yet. I don't think any college player should be asking out, not wanting to play in games in minutes, because the whole point of college, especially if you're a prospect, is to increase your draft stock. If you are a prospect, the point of college is to increase your draft stock. And if you are asking out, that is less plays that you have to prove yourself to these teams. Now, of course, there's the argument of, oh, he doesn't need to prove himself. He proved himself enough already. I hate that rhetoric. I genuinely hate it because all it's doing is feeding in to the selfish, I want to play basketball my way. And I'm not saying Peterson plays this way, but I'm saying that mentality is the reason we see so many one-way players now. It's because of the idea of, well, it doesn't affect me if I sit out because, well, my reputation's already really good. So why should I have to play more minutes? That's selfish. You should want to win. The desire to win should be a number one, like one of your number one factors if you're an NBA GM looking in. And frankly, the fact that Peterson is still being projected over Debonsa, especially considering the fit that Debonsa has in Washington, just because AJ wants to play in Utah and Utah wants AJ. Washington, I'm warning you right now, do not make that mistake. Do not make that mistake. Take Debonsa. You've got your squad, You've got Trae Young and Anthony Davis. If they can stay healthy, AJ Debonsa at your small forward is going to be huge. You've got a squad. If you have Alex Sarr at the 4, young guy, I think he's going into his 3rd season, he'll surely develop. You've got AD at your center, and then you've got guys like Trey Johnson, as your shooting guard, Trae Young in your point guard, and then Debonsa. Does that not look like a complete starting 5 if healthy? I genuinely think that could be a playoff team. If they draft Debonsa, that could be a playoff team. Now, granted, realistically, Anthony Davis is probably going to have 7 ankle injuries and be out for the whole season. But if he stays healthy and some miracle happens, then yeah, I could see, like the Mavericks, a 6 to 8 seed play in at worst. This Washington team is promising to me if they take Debonsa. If they take Peterson, it's confusing because you already have a plethora of guards. You don't need another. You really don't need another guard. You have lots. But if you take Debonsa, you fill in that small forward spot and you add depth. I like that. If I'm Washington, I want that. So one thing that's really important for me, though, as well in this draft is who goes 5th and who goes 6th. I think right now it's between Acuff and Wagler, right? But here's my 2 cents on the situation, because I've seen so many people mock Acuff over Wagler, and I've seen so many people mock Wagler over Acuff. Here's my 2 cents on the situation. With Acuff being an explosive ISO-heavy guard that's a little undersized and kind of a defensive liability, but a phenomenal shooter, I think he has the higher ceiling than Keaton Wagler, but I think Keaton Wagler has more win-now potential. And I'd say, here's the thing, because Wagler is tall. He's 6'6". For a point guard, that's really good. He plays a little bit more methodical. He doesn't really have the explosiveness that Darius Acuff has, but he does have a more defensive potential, I think. They're both kind of defensive liabilities right now, but I think Keaton Wagler has the most potential to develop into a more defensive guard with time and training in the league. Whereas Acuff, I think, is going to end up, like everyone else has said, Allen Iverson, very talented. I think he's going to be not generational talent, but I think he's going to be a really special player, many All-Star appearances. I think that he will flourish. I think if you put him in any other draft class, I think he goes 1 through 3. But this class is so stacked, I just don't see a world. Like, if you put him in 24, he goes 1. If you put him in Zachary Risaché's draft, he's going number 1. But I just don't think that, as of right now, if you are the Clippers, that you want to take Acuff. And I know that might contradict but everything I'm saying, but here's the thing. If you're going to keep Kawhi, this is what I'm saying. If you're keeping Kawhi, you want to take Wagler. Because he is more win now, I think. I think the way his size is, he's a little bit lanky. But if you run him at the 2 and have Darius Garland at the 1, I think that's a really good backcourt. And I think you can work with that. Now, the more likely option, though, is trading away Kawhi Leonard. And if that's the case, then you do want to take Acuff, I'll say. I think you do take Acuff if you want to trade Kawhi away in the offseason. Because Acuff will give you a new start to the team. He will give you a new cornerstone to build around. He will give you a higher ceiling going on in the future for a rebuild. And I think that you will really regret taking Acuff, or not taking Acuff, if you take Wagler and trade away Kawhi. Now, if you're going for a win now type thing, like we're putting all our eggs in one basket, well, first off, you trade the 5th pick. But if you're not going to do that, take Wagler, because he is more complete, I'd say, as of right now. But I think Acuff is destined to surpass him at some point in the NBA in the future. So for this one, I kind of want to go over trades. This quarter, we're going over trades because Giannis on draft night or before draft night is looking to be traded to either Miami or Boston. And the trade I have right up here is the Boston Celtics trade because as of earlier, I actually had a trade mocked out to where they were able to keep Jaylen Brown. However, Brian Windhorst, he said and reported that the Celtics are ready to move on from Jaylen Brown regardless of if they get Giannis or not. So that made things a lot easier for me. And so here, I have this trade. I do think Giannis is a much better player than Jaylen Brown. Or not much better, but a better player. So I do have Hugo Gonzalez in 2 seconds, along with Jaylen Brown, for Giannis. Some people could say this is an overpay, considering Jaylen Brown was a Finals MVP. But honestly, I think that the Bucks won't take just a straight up Brown for Giannis, obviously. Now, Hugo Gonzalez, I think, gives them good youth to build off of, and then you have 2 seconds to go like along with it. If you don't have Jaylen Brown, I think you have to throw in a bunch of firsts. But since you're bringing him in, I think that's enough value to where you only have to give up 2 seconds in this trade. Now, this is where it gets kind of crazy because Miami is going to be drained of assets if the Bucks are ever going to trade with them, because they said many times the Bucks GM has been, if we are going to give Giannis to Miami, we are going to drain everything they have. And that's what this trade does. It drains everything they have. You know, Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, Javion Mitchell, Khalil Ware, Kasparis Yakachonis, 3 seconds and 2 first-round picks for Giannis and AJ Green. And I think if you're Miami, you really want to get AJ Green here to make up for the shooting that Tyler Hero had. You're not going to get the same, obviously you're not going to get the same output. Tyler Hero is a much better player, but you're getting Giannis. You don't care about that. You need shooting. AJ Green's your guy. That's what I think you'd want in this situation. And I think this really works out for Miami. As you see, the trade machine really likes it. +5 wins. So, I mean, yeah, any Giannis trade really does that. But I think the Bucks actually get a lot of young assets here as well that work for them. Obviously, these picks are no joke. Then 29 and 31, the Heat are going to be a little bit older. And they're probably not perform as well. Giannis, I think, in 29 will be, he's 31 now. I think he'll be around 35. 33 to 35. Be a lot older, and since he's such an athletic power forward, those tend to be, and as bad as this sounds, I don't mean any ill will when I say this, I hope he has a very long career, but your really athletic and powerful and bully ball players tend to peak a little bit earlier, and they tend to have lesser veteran careers. And so I do think that Giannis is going to decline a bit in those later years. And I think that's where the value of these 2 first-round picks comes in. And so, of course, and then if you got the plethora of seconds, Kasparis Yakachonis gets you a good point guard option that the Bucks really just don't have. They have a bunch of guards, but not really that guy that could really develop into something. I think Yakachonis could. So I do think that this trade would work out for the Bucks, and I do think they'd accept it. Now, however, we've got some more trades. Okay, whoa. Post-production, okay. Red alert, Giannis was traded while I was recording. What the... Okay, let's read this. Okay, let's read this out. This is my live reaction to the Giannis to the Heat trade. Okay. Blockbuster, the Milwaukee Bucks are trading franchise icon Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis. Oh my goodness, they got both of them to the Miami Heat for Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Yakachonis, 3 firsts, including the 13th pick, 1 pick swap, and 1 second rounder. The Heat are sending to Milwaukee. Oh my gosh. Wow. I thought he was going to be a Celtic, folks. I thought he was going to Boston. What on earth? So this is huge for the Heat. I'm gonna keep the trade that I had mocked up in here for just comparison purposes. You guys can compare it. I can too. Wow. I think this is huge. So Miami is back in contention. Miami can win the Larry O'Brien. This front court of Bam Adebayo and are they gonna run Bobby Portis at the 3 and have Wiggins at the 2? How is that going to work? Are they going to have Portis coming off the bench? Because if it were me in this situation, because you trade Hero, right? So that leaves. Did they trade Davion Mitchell? They kept Davion Mitchell. Yeah. So you could start Davion Mitchell, Wiggins at the 2, Portis at the 3, Giannis at the 4, Bam at the 5. That's a very big lineup, but I honestly like it. That could be a 1 seed if they stay healthy. And then add a few bench guys in the offseason. Dang. Wow. Let's get you back to your scheduled programming, but oh my, Giannis is a Miami Heat now. I was certain he was going to Boston. Boston had so much more to offer. I'm here for it. The Celtics don't get better, and another team steps up with another star. Great narrative. I love this. I love this trade. I think it works great for both teams. All those picks that let's see which picks they got. So unprotected first in 2031 and 33. Okay, so like I said, the later term ones when they're going to be older. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Feels good to be right. Now here is a really interesting trade that I have in mind. It's very risky, assuming that the Pistons don't land Kawhi Leonard, because I have Kawhi going somewhere else in my next trade. I think they can go after Kevin Durant. They could pull off the trade, and I think it'd be interesting. Now, the Rockets might not be able to get much from this because of the burner drama, because of how everything went with the first-round exit. KD's value is a little bit lower. He's 37 years old, so you're not going to get too much from him. But I do think the Pistons could use him as kind of like one last piece going in to shoot for that championship that they're wanting. I think this season you're going to see a lot of teams go all in, and the Pistons could be one of them. And here I have Karis LeVert going to the Rockets, Corey Kispert from Atlanta, Ron Holland, and a first and a second. Then over here, Isaiah Stewart going to the Hawks. I think that's a really good fit for Atlanta. I think it gives them more depth, adds on to the roster for bigs, which has been a really big issue for them. And I think it works out for the Hawks, and all they have to give up is Corey Kispert. I mean, all it is just to make the money match. And I think the Rockets, instead of landing one big cornerstone guy, I think we saw how that went, and they performed better when they were more diverse. I think having these guys come in along with the picks, you can make something happen with this. I mean, your core is still very young, so this first round pick and this second round pick is very beneficial still. You can draft a guy, and within 3 years, they'll be up to speed with your stars. And I just really like this trade overall. And I think the Pistons should consider it. Now, Houston, if they accept it or not, is the big issue. Obviously, this is much less of a haul than you would usually get for a player like KD. But with the situation at hand, I think you just want to get rid of him. I think that's your best option. So this is the trade I had in mind for that. Let's go over to my final trade. And it's Golden State. This is a 4-team trade, okay? I'm warning you. Get these ads out of here. I don't get paid for this. Neither should they. No, out of here. Okay. So I don't think this trade happens, right? This is too complicated of a trade to happen. In my time covering the NBA, I have not seen a trade like this. And in my childhood of watching the NBA, I have not seen a trade this major. I think this would be a major trade, honestly, probably one of the biggest of all time. But here, the Warriors land Kawhi, Klay, and Obi Toppin. I think all of these trades, by the way, could happen separately in and of themselves, but I don't think they're all going to happen. It's not going to be one big 4-team trade. Let me just put that out there. So, for starters, you get Jimmy. You get off the Jimmy money. Jimmy and Moody are both injured for a while. So, really, all the Clippers get in this situation is a bunch of picks. They're going to get a bunch of picks for Kawhi, and then they're going to have Moses Moody as another guy for development reasons. Now, on the other end of things, you have Brandon Podziemski and Guy Santos going to the Pacers because Obi Toppin going to the Warriors. I think that's a good fit. I've been mocking this trade for years now. I think I had an episode last offseason where I mocked Obi Toppin to the Warriors as well. Looking back at this, I think you do need to add a bit more to the Clippers side of things, because if I'm the Clippers GM, I don't think I'd take this trade. I think I'd have to throw in some more picks for other teams. especially if you're giving up Bogdanovich going to the Mavericks. Because that's what I really wanted to do with this idea of Clay, because the Mavericks have a really big issue of what do we do with this? He's kind of washed. And honestly, I think the Warriors could use that veteran depth. I mean, we're already the unction. Let's just add to it. And it would be kind of like a moral support thing for the rest of the Warriors squad. So I do think that would be helpful for Clay to go back to the Bay, Kawhi to end up in Golden State for defensive purposes, and also for just all around having that second star with Curry that hopefully can stay healthy and on the court. And then Obi Toppin for depth to kind of fill that Jonathan Kuminga role of like your explosive, like get to the hoop, but can also shoot the lights out, like that type of player, that volume shooter mixed in with a little bit of slasher action. I really like this for the Warriors. I know the trade machine hates it. It says -8 wins. But honestly, if you are Golden State, I think this is your best situation. You give up Pods, you give up Santos. Guy Santos is going to be your biggest loss here, honestly, with the way he performed in the playoffs. Stats don't say enough about how good Guy Santos is and how much potential he has, and that's why I think the Pacers would want to pull the trigger on this. And if you're the Mavericks, you land a second-round pick in 2028. You land Bogdan Bogdanovich, and you can have a bit more output and consistency with him on your team than him on your team. And I think this just works out for everybody. So, yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of these trades. If I'm full of crap, let me know. But this is what I've got so far. I think it works. All right, I figured we'd have a little bit of fun with fourth quarter off-season shenanigans. There's not much to talk about. We haven't really hit free agency yet. We talked about the draft. Let's play some 82-0. So I always go on Hoop IQ, and let's see how bad this is. I've only went 82-0 once, and that's a horrible start. Oh my goodness. I honestly don't like any of these options. I'm gonna re-roll my team already. I'm already burning my team re-roll. Golden State in the 20s. That's perfect. That is chef's kiss. Okay. Couldn't have asked any other way. Give me Steph. Where are you, buddy? There you go. Give me Steph at my 1. No, we're going to have Sacramento in the 70s. Oh, okay. I forget. Did Oscar Robertson play in the 70s? Yes, he did. So I'm going to slide Curry to the 2, put Big O in the 1. Next. Houston in the 20s. Okay, I'm going to reroll my era here. Go for some Hakeem Olajuwon. And I do. Give me Hakeem. Okay. Hakeem, where you at, buddy? H. Where are ya? There you go. Now, Dallas in 2010s. Okay. 2011 Dirk. Give me Dirk at the 4. That's huge, actually. I actually really like that. Not David Lee. Dirk at the 4. And at the 3, we're going to have, oh man, Milwaukee in the... That's horrible. I know nothing about this team. Glenn Robinson's the name I know. I'm going to go with that. 65 and 17. That's not bad. Not bad for a warm-up. Dirk was my weakest pick. Actually, no, Glenn Robinson was. But, oh my goodness, did we get 21 Steph? I think that's 2021 Steph. That's good. I need to use... Because the 2010 Steph, because I know life this. I do this a lot in my free time. 2010 Steph is like 23.6. Like 2016 unanimous MVP Steph has worse stats than this. So, interesting. All right, let's try this again. Phoenix in 2010. Oh, in the 2010s. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Give me a new team. Oh, I misclicked the era. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's bad. I don't know either. I don't know this team. Oh, Dick Van Arsdale. I'll take it. That's huge. Good save. Utah in the 90s. Give me Karl Malone. Good output. I'll take it. Good defensive, good rebounds. The thing about this, here, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm about to show y'all. So, 2010s, I'm going to take Steph, and it's going to show me, if it hasn't updated, it's going to show me, I think, 23.6. And let's go for another one. Milwaukee in the 80s. Let's see, who do they have? Who did they have in the 80s? Like nobody. Could go Mike Dunleavy, I guess. I'm gonna re-roll my team. Maybe I can get Jordan. Atlanta in the 80s, okay. Dominique Wilkins, I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. For our center position, do we have any re-rolls? We don't. Washed DeAndre Jordan. This is horrible, man. Give me Loon Dog for old time's sake. 52 and 30. Oh my goodness gracious. Really not the greatest run, but hey, we'll take it. But yeah, this is what I mean. 23.5. This was, what season was this? I don't know, but it wasn't 2015 or 16. Yeah, it did not give me the 30.1. Let's try it again. Phoenix in the 2000s. Amari Stoudemire. Okay, I'll take him. The Clippers in the 90s. They have Adrian Dantley. I forget. Did he retire by this time? They had I don't know how good Dominique Wilkins was on the Clippers, but I think he's our best option here. I don't know like 90s outside of like your Bulls, your Celtics, Pistons, stuff like that. Your mainstream like 90s teams, other than that, I don't know. I wasn't alive. Boston in the 2010s. See, here's the thing about Boston in the 2010s. They had some great players, right? But all of their great players were either in the twilight of their careers or just getting started. So I'm going to re-roll the era because I like Boston. Any other era is pretty good. Like, yeah, see, here we get KG. Let's see. Kevin Garnett. Don't want to take Kendrick Perkins. Kevin Garnett. Okay. Milwaukee in the 80s. We're back to this. Give me another team. Re-roll the team. Give me Jordan. Sacramento in the 80s. Okay. I can take Danny Ainge here. I like that. Let me see. Is there anybody else I can take? There was a guy named Michael Jackson. Nice. Yeah, no, I think I'm going to go with Danny Ainge at my 2. Now, let's see for the 1. Clippers in the... So I could go... I might slide you up to the 1. I can't slide you to the 2. Okay. Now I've got to find a 2. Trying to think. Let me see. Do they have any point guards? Jim Price, Mike Glenn, World Be Free. I'll take World Be Free. Yeah. I like that. Forgot about World Be Free. 28 point. Dang. Okay. Bag added to. I did not know about him in the 70s. Let's do one more and call it an episode. Sacramento in the 2010s. That's terrible. Give me a new era because they've got some dogs in Sacktown. 90s Sacramento. Do they have a dog on this team? Danny Ainge. Give me Danny Ainge at the 2. Follow this with Toronto in the 20s. I'm going to re-roll the team. I've already I've used both of my re-rolls. Knicks in the 20s. Hey, I'll take it. Give me Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, welcome to the squad. There you are. Okay, so Seattle in the 90s. Okay, I could take Gary Payton here, I think, if I can slide you down to the... I can't. Okay. Where is he at? Sean Kemp. I'll take you at my center. Memphis. Oh my gosh, this is horrible, man. This is bad. I'll take Triple J. Power forward. Okay, follow this by Charlotte in the 20s. Golly. Hey, to be fair, I could take Con Knipple here because he's only had 1 season and he had a pretty good season. Yeah, I'll take that. You know, I kind of saved that because considering how bad of a start I had with using both of my rerolls, that's not terrible. I think I'm good to end it out there. We didn't go 82-0, but hey, a solid run. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It's been great covering the NBA. I just want to say this real quick before I hop off here because during the playoffs, we surpassed the first birthday of Tipped Off, and I completely forgot about it. It's been a year of doing this. It does not feel like that long. And I just want to say, we're really small right now, but thank you guys so much for watching. Those of you that are people tuning in, I hear all the time on, like, out in public with people I see, like friends I'm with, like everybody encouraging me. Just thank y'all so much. Seriously, thank you so much for a year of this. And yeah, we're still very small, but I don't intend to quit. I really don't. And I hope you guys continue to support me as much as you have been. And before I get too sentimental, I'm going to clock out on a high note here. So take care, y'all. Peace.